How many mistakes will it take for me to leave? Something like that. Man, that's a good song. All right, I'm going to sing it every single time we bring it on. Thank you guys for joining us once again on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, evening, nighttime here. We are coming to you live from downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Jose V. This is another episode of Straight Bet Sports here on the one and only Gorilla Cross Radio Network. If you have not checked it out, go ahead and do so now. GorillaCross.com, the Gorilla Cross app on all of your app stores, whether it's Apple, Google, whatever phone you got. Trust me, there's a Play Store that has that app. Go ahead and check it out and download it. Check out all of the content. Thank you so much to everybody that is in studio with us tonight. My co-host, as always, my compadre, Rob G, in the studio. I know you're happy tonight.
Yes, sir.
Especially last night, but we'll get into that talk here in a second. Joining us is one studio, just hanging out with us tonight, gonna chop it up, chime in. The guy that takes care of the shirts that you see that me and Rob wear all the time, from Free Your Soul brand, a good friend of the show, and a good friend of ours, Jaime, is in the studio with us as well. Thank you so much for joining us, my man. And thank you for hooking me up with the new shirt today. I was waiting, I needed the new shirt, and I finally got it, man. But thank you so much. We got a great show on tap for you guys tonight. And we could not do it without the guy behind the big board. As always, Big Game James Mays, thank you for joining us and doing what you do for us every single Wednesday night, my man. I know you're happy as well.
My guy, something wrong with my mic, but we're good.
We can hear you, though. We can hear you. That's all that matters. And yes, I know some of you are going to give me some crap because you're wearing a Dodger hat and you're not a Dodger fan. But I'm from LA, so I'm still going to represent and support and congratulate the home team. So always, always, always. But with that being said, man, we got a great show on tap for you guys tonight. But if you want to call in, let me let you know what the number is. 702-608-3259. And if you want to check out any of our shows or any of the previous shows, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're live on Instagram right now. Not only that, Apple, Anchor, Spotify, Google, all of that stuff. And of course, GorillaCross.com and the Gorilla Cross app. Like I said, you can check us out there. We're live right now on YouTube and Twitter, though, and Facebook. So if you're checking us out there, drop a comment, drop a like, and share the video. Let people know what you're watching tonight and let them know the content that you're enjoying here on this lovely Wednesday evening. But with that being said, once again, the phone number here is 702-608-3259. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and let you know what our starting lineup for the night is. Tonight, we will be joined by our good friend, Duane Colucci, race and sportsbook manager from Rampart Casino. He's a huge Dodgers fan, so I know he's excited about what happened last night. We'll break down all of the NFL action with Duane. We'll talk about what the bettors were betting on Tuesday night in the World Series, and we'll get his thoughts on all things gambling for sure. Also, he was at the crazy game for Rob. I know you saw this. We texted each other. We couldn't believe what we saw, the way that game ended. But it was a crazy game for the World Series between Tampa Bay and the Dodgers not too many days ago. Kamdyn Perry, a good friend of the show, star baseball player here, young man from Bishop Gorman High School, will be joining us via Skype as well. He was there with his pops. Crazy ending to the game. We want to get his thoughts on how that went. And not only that, see what the young man has coming up here moving forward. And of course, in our weekly chatter segment, we're going to talk about the World Series. What happened? What do we see with both teams moving forward after this great shortened 60-game season? Also, Rob, is there an asterisk to this Dodgers championship? I don't think so, but we'll get your thoughts and everybody else's thoughts on that as well. And Justin Turner violated coronavirus protocols to celebrate on the field at Globe Life Stadium with his teammates. What will happen next? Will we see some punishment coming down? And the opening line with Rob G, again, the segment that we created a few weeks ago. This time it's going to be fun because we got Rob G chopping it up with Duane. He's got a couple games that he wants to talk about. They got that in their back pocket. We'll see what they're seeing and see if Duane's seeing the same behind the counter at Rampart Racing Sportsbook Casino there. And of course, we're going to break down all of the NFL action like we do towards the end of the night. Let you know what we see, what we think we like, what might possibly happen. But remember, people, we're not professionals. We're just chopping it up like you would with your boys at the casino, at the book, hanging out on the weekend, or even during the week, getting ready for the weekend. But I also got to say thank you to Brian Alamán of the American Outlaws. We're going for an extra half hour again tonight, people. Normally, you follow the show, we're only an hour long, but we're going an extra half hour tonight. Thanks to him and the American Outlaws for sponsoring the extra half hour. I greatly appreciate you guys for doing so. But of course, Straight Bet Sports would not be brought to you without if it wasn't for our title sponsor here. And you guys know every single night we are being brought to you by Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate, a realtor here to help educate current and future Las Vegas locals on selling and investing in real estate. I know you're probably asking yourself, educate. Well, yes, there's a surprising amount of adults that when it comes to real estate, don't know the right questions to ask, don't know where to start, and think they need a lot of cash to buy a house here in Nevada, which, trust me, simply is not true. So Josh has decided to make it his responsibility to reach out to his clients to let them know what they need to know, and equally most important, what they need to ask to help ensure making their home ownership dreams a reality. So make sure you call or text Joshua LaFon today at 702-813-0533. This has been another paid advertisement from Joshua LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate at 702-813-0533. We got the bills paid, Rob. We let everybody know what the show's about tonight. I know you're excited. I know you're happy. Dodgers came through for you tonight. You're 34 years old, my man. First time in 32. You're not trying to throw your number out there.
Why you gotta throw my age out there?
The first time in 32 years.
Under the bus, man.
Right, just like
Goose
that.
Thomas on the Facebook, man. Thank you for joining us as well. But yeah, I know you're excited. I know you're happy. But before we get into the World Series talk, before we get into it with Duane, before we start talking and chopping it up with Jaime, well, you can join in on this too, Jaime. We got to bring in Kamdyn Perry. We got to rewind a little bit before the series ended. Let's go back. Let's go in our time machine, and let's go ahead and jump into Game 4. And with our first guest of the night, he is none other than Kamdyn Perry, baseball phenom and star here at Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. Kamdyn, I know it's late. I know you got to get to bed soon because you got to go to school tomorrow. But thank you so much for joining us. How's your evening going so far?
It's going good. And actually, I don't have school tomorrow. We have an in-service tomorrow, and then we have Friday off.
Awesome. So you got some time to chill out. You can sleep in a little bit late tonight, so not too bad.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get right into it, man. Since the last time you were in the show, I see you've been traveling still, and you're doing some things there with Pops, and you're still in your baseball. But before we get into what you've been doing and what's next for Kamdyn Perry, I know you're a Dodger fan. You say you're / Dodger in between Angels. I get it. But I follow you on social media. I follow your dad. You guys went to Game 4 of the World Series between the Dodgers and the Rays here a few days ago at Globe Life Field in Arlington. First of all, before we get to the ending of the game, talk about the experience of being at a World Series game during the pandemic with all of the social distancing and protocols and things like that of that nature. How was that?
I mean, it wasn't too bad. It kind of felt normal, but everyone's still wearing masks and stuff, and everyone's trying to stay away from each other. But I mean, in a way, it was normal. Obviously there wasn't that many. I mean, I think 1/5 of the stadium was filled, because that's what they were allowed. But it was fun to actually be there and be at a game, and I would go again.
What would you say, aside from the ending, that was the most fun of that game before you even got to the way that game ended? What did you enjoy overall?
Before the ending is probably, I was there with my buddy Roland. I've known him since I was 5, and just being there with him at a World Series game was just crazy. That was probably the best part.
Was there any crazy things that they did before you got in the ballpark? Did they check your temperature? Were there any type of things you had to walk through, sanitize, wash your... I mean, anything that they were trying to do because, it is the World Series and they're trying to be safe?
I don't think they did, actually. You just went through the metal detector, but that's it.
So let's get into the ending of that game. I'm sitting there watching it at home, and I didn't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I had a bet on Tampa Bay in game to come back and win that game. So I'm sitting there going, I want the Dodgers. I want the Dodgers to win this game, but I also wanted to see a series, and I'm sitting there going, man, can they really come? And I believe it was Phillips that hit the ball, correct? And here's the thing. You're at the game, Kamdyn, so you can't hear the announcers. You can't hear Joe Buck and everything that they're saying. So I'm sitting there, and Rob, you're a conspiracy theorist just like me, or when we're watching a football game, he hasn't missed from 30 yards in the last 50 tries. That type of stuff. They jinx the kicker. So they're talking about Kenley Jansen, right? How he's worked on his mechanics, how he's looking better in the strike zone. And I'm sitting there watching the game, and my daughter's sitting next to me, and I'm going, something doesn't sound right here. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just watch. It doesn't sound right. And then Phillips comes up, and they're talking about how he only hit 2 home runs all season. He was with 2 different teams. They just brought him up for the World Series roster. And I'm sitting there going, this just sounds too perfect. It's going to happen. Walk us through that play and what's your emotion. Because I heard your dad on the video. Your dad sent me the video from the game. What was running through your mind when you see the outfield? What was it? Who bobbled that? Was it Chris Taylor? Rob?
It's Chris Taylor.
Chris Taylor that bobbles that ball in the outfield. Are you thinking tie game? We're going to extra innings? Or did you honestly think it was going to end the way it did?
So from my point of view, I saw Chris Taylor, he's going for the ball. I was like, okay, this should be an easy out, right? But then he bobbles the ball, and then I forgot who he throws it to, but he
Max
throws
Muncy.
it to someone, and then obviously he makes a bad throw, wasn't kind of bad catch too, by Will Smith, and and then just the fact that the runner fell in between, and then got back up and went back home. It was just crazy. I didn't know what to think, but I honestly thought I was gonna tie, but then after seeing the ball just go past and no one's running for it, and it was over. I was like, well, we just wasted that game for that. Just see that.
So I know you and your dad were having a lot of fun, especially like you said, you were there with your buddy, and I was talking to your dad, and he said you guys were hoping for extra innings at that point. Like you weren't thinking, even when they got the runners on base, you're like, all right, if they score here, maybe let's get extra innings. You guys wanted to extend your trip a little bit there, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. Obviously, seeing that play was probably, the best part. But as a Dodgers fan there, obviously it wasn't that great. But I was hoping for at least to tie. But, obviously that didn't happen.
So how do you feel now that they won the World Series? I mean, you're what 15, 16 again? I'm sorry.
I'm 15.
Okay, so the last time they won was 32 years ago, so you weren't born, obviously. But your whole life they haven't won one. How does it feel being a 15-year-old knowing that your dad had to wait 32 years? I'm not sure if he's a Dodger fan or not, but anyone else had to wait that long, and you only waited 15.
Well, I mean, for people that are older, obviously that probably felt way better. But for me, I was as a little kid, I was always just mainly an Angels fan because I played on a little league team. It was the Angels, so I just liked the Angels. And then as I was growing up, I was like, wow, I kind of like the Dodgers. So I just started following Dodgers more, and I've been wanting them to win for the past 4 years, 5 years, whatever. And then after seeing them lose so much, I was like starting to lose hope because like it felt like a curse, like the Cubs. And then after seeing the Game 4, I was like, well, I guess they might lose again. But then, obviously Game 6, they came back and won. But it felt really good to see them win.
So one more baseball question on that note before we ask you one more about what you got coming up. So you as now, because you're focusing more on pitching from what I'm seeing. Your dad was telling me that you're going to be starting here shortly at the showcase, at the power showcase that you're going to here coming up. But is there anything that you watching this as a fan, but not only that, as a pupil of the game, were you watching this and watching whether it's the Dodger pitchers, whether it's what Kershaw did or what Buehler did, or even what Snell did last night after being pulled, which he shouldn't have been pulled, but did you watch anything that these guys were doing, whether it's mechanics, whether it's the way they adjust to certain batters? Is there anything you picked up from these pros while you were watching this World Series that you can help with your game adapt moving forward?
Well, when you're sitting in the stands, you can see them do what they're doing, but you can't really see, everything. But like when you're watching on TV, you can see everything, every mechanic. So, obviously being at the World Series and being at a game is way better, but seeing things on TV is probably way better to pick up mechanics and stuff.
He is Kamdyn Perry, Bishop Gorman's star pitcher now, I'm going to say, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're sticking to here. He can do it all, though, folks. If you have not looked up Kamdyn Perry, look him up on YouTube. Look up his stats. Just look him up in general. Look up his videos. Kid's a monster. He's a star. Trust me, moving forward, he has a name coming out of Las Vegas that you guys are going to want to follow. Kamdyn, before we let you go, I do have one final question for you. What do you have moving forward for you coming up here with the baseball? I know you're coming up in 2 weeks doing something at the Power Showcase. Talk to us about that briefly here.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, I'm going to Texas, and I'm actually going to be playing at that field. And
Wow. Look at that.
It was kind of like a late thing. I wasn't supposed to do it, but they said they had one more spot in the high school division for pitching. So I was like, okay, I guess we can do that. That'd be fun. But I won't be hitting this year, but maybe if I go next time, I might hit again.
There you go. You guys heard he's going to be at the Power Showcase here in a few weeks, and the same ballpark that the Dodgers just won the World Series. That's probably going to give you chills pitching on that mound. Yes or no?
Yeah, that will be cool.
But once again, he is Kamdyn Perry, Bishop Gorman baseball star, pitcher here, joining us on Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio. Kamdyn, I know it was short, it was brief, but we had to get you on since you were at the game. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. Next time we'll have you in studio with your dad. We'll talk about the way your travels have been going. Hopefully everything goes good for you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and best of luck for you moving forward here in this tournament.
Thank you.
Let everybody know real quick where they can find you one last time.
You can find me on Instagram at Kamdyn Perry 30, and then Twitter and Facebook I think is the exact same.
There he is, Kamdyn Perry. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Kamdyn Perry, man, fun young man.
How did you get those tickets?
Pops, his pops. I don't ask questions.
Just came through in the clutch.
Pops comes through in the clutch. So hi, man. You've been quiet this whole time. Before we get Duane on, I know Dwayne's waiting in the background. So what's up, man?
Nothing, man. What's up? Thanks for having me, man. What's going on?
I know you've had a rough couple days here.
Oof,
I got 32 shots this morning on my arm. I don't know if the camera can see.
Ooh.
I had my allergy shots, my allergy test. I'm sorry. So I had
I've
a pretty
been there.
rough day myself, but I know you've had a rough couple days.
Yeah.
I know you've had a death in the family, so thoughts and prayers to your family, bro.
Thank
Much
you, man.
respect there.
Appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was personally, but
Thank you.
anytime there's something like that with a friend, we're here, man. Definitely. But talk about your clothing line real quick. Let people know what you have going on, especially the one that you have on now, man. The paletero shirt. You guys know about the paletero, the guy, the ice cream man walking around the neighborhood. He's got this shirt, man.
That's the new one, bro.
If you see the brand, obviously Free Your Soul
Right here.
brand. My man right here, he hooks it up. Rob, he don't have it today because he got the Dodger shirt, obviously, but Rob always has the shirt on.
man.
I always wear.
I got
My
rid
wife
of-
always tells me, "It looks like you're wearing the same shirts." I'm like, "Babe, I got 4 or 5 different shirts. It's the brand. I like wearing this comfortable." But let
I just
people
got
know.
one. So I was
We got to get you more.
Oh, bro.
But let
come on, I
people
gotta
know
get you
about the
more.
shirt. Not only that, the clothing line in general.
Yeah, man. I mean, really, it just came by as just be yourself, really. Like, it's for your soul. So it's don't be attached to something. Be free, be who you want to be, and that's what my thing is. Right now, the paletero one is part of my Chicano brand.
Nice.
You know what I mean? I
The
gotta
Chicano brand.
support and represent. All of my designs themselves are based on I would say American traditional tattoos.
Okay.
I hang around with a bunch of tattoo artists.
Nice.
myself.
Okay. Nice.
And
Nice.
I used to work out at a tattoo shop, so I mean, it makes it a lot easier, man. And that's where I get all my ideas, and it just comes by, and I make it. I like to do things that I like to wear. So, like you were saying, my shirts are comfortable because I don't like to wear, a shirt that's gonna get itchy and you're
Bug
gonna wash it
you.
once and then it's gonna lose its color.
Yeah.
Like, bro, get out of here with that. You know what I mean? I don't do cheap stuff. You know what I mean? And people always say, oh, your stuff is too expensive. Well, if it's too expensive, if you can't afford $20, then I'm not the one for you, man. Go back to Walmart. You know what I mean?
I love it.
If
Pro
you
Club.
can't support
Pro
local.
Club.
Go back to the Pro
Go back to the
Club.
Pro Club brand.
Yeah.
But let everybody know where they could find it exactly. If you have any promos or anything going on, just go ahead and plug it, man. Plug
Yeah,
away.
man,
You've been taking
yeah.
care of me, definitely.
Appreciate you, man, for that. So yeah, my website is just shopfys.com. Super simple. Online is my social media would be, my Instagram is at fys.brand. And whoever follows me the next 10 people who follow me, I'll give you a free sticker with it if you do purchase a shirt.
There you go.
I'll even throw in a buy one get one if you do decide to go for it. And then
Ooh.
the next 10 people that decide to buy something, bro, I'll do a buy one get one just because you had me in the show. And on top of all that, we do have a discount code for your show. So you do get a discount. Straight Bet is the discount code, so I'll throw
go.
that in there for you, man.
So there you go. Next 10 people that hit him up and buy a shirt, 2 for 1, and you can use a straight bet discount.
There you
I didn't
go.
know that was coming. He just hooked it up. I'm serious. Greatly appreciate
got
that.
you, man.
But hang out with us, bro. Chop it up with us. If there's anything you want to say about baseball, football, or anything that you might just be like, hey, can I jump in on that? You're here, man. We
I got
really
you, man.
appreciate you. Definitely.
Appreciate it. No, and thank you for having me again, man.
Of course,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Definitely. I got to get some more shirts. I told you I'm getting the Paletero shirt for sure. You're going to see me rocking that one next
There
time.
you go.
But let's go ahead and move on with the show as well. Once again, I am your host, Jose V, here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. You are listening to Straight Bet Sports. Rob G in front of me. Big Game Jay Mays behind the big board. Let's go ahead and jump into it with our featured guest of the night. He's going to be joining us through Skype for the remainder of the show here. It's been a while since we've had him on, but things do happen in life. Pops has not been feeling well. Michael Colucci as well. We're out there, man. We're thinking about you. We pray about you all the time. We got your back. You know that you guys are family. But Duane, welcome to the show, my man. How's everything going on this beautiful, should I say, hangover Wednesday for you? Because your Dodgers won last night?
Hey, it's about time. You know, I'm getting gray. Let me tell you, Jose, I'm getting gray. Thank God. Rob knows, too. It was a long haul. Hey, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad they put it away. I didn't want to see the Game 7, and it was good to see them get the job done. Mookie had a monster game, I'll tell you. Seager had a great series, and it was just it was good to be a Dodger fan for once.
So I do got to ask you, how's your dad doing? We got to mention that. Obviously, how is Pops doing right now?
He's doing all right. You know, he had a rough go of it today. He had a little temperature. He spiked. And for those who don't know, he had what it was an aneurysm in his stomach. And it was a good thing that we caught it, because if that thing bursts, you know, it's not a good situation. So, you know, he's recovering. He has a nice scar, Jose. I mean, it's almost like underneath his heart, past his belly button. And you know, it's healing up nicely. He's walking around, but he did have a little temperature this week. And, you know, we got to keep an eye on that with the COVID situation and all this other stuff going on. But he's a trooper. You know, he's a Brooklyn-born guy. He's tough. He knows how to do the right things, and he's trying to take care of himself.
Good, man. Good to hear. I mean, it's good that he's getting on the right track and he's getting better there. Definitely. You know, I hit you up all the time, not trying to, you know, sugar,
No,
you know, be nice or anything.
Thank
but,
you
you know,
for all the concern, Jose. You know, I got to say that before, you know, you have been one of the most important people just, you know, contacting me and keeping in contact. And I really appreciate that, as does my family.
Yeah, man, definitely. Of course. You guys have been awesome with me too, man. You know, I miss Pops and I can't wait to see him again, man. Definitely. Now,
sounds good. Definitely. He'll be back.
He'll be back better than ever. Definitely. Of course. Pops is a trooper, man. But let's go ahead and move on with the show here real quick. Now, we want you to be our guest for the whole night, but our bread and butter that we're going to talk with you obviously is going to be when we get into the lines, because we're going to break down the lines towards the end of the night, break down the NFL lines. But we do have a few segments here that we're going to break down. The first one is basically our sports chat of the night. I'm going to get your thoughts, Rob's thoughts, you know, on what happened last night. Obviously, we do know that the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series. Both you and Rob are huge Dodger fans. I support them because I am from LA. That's why you see the hat, obviously. I'm always going to support them no matter what. It felt good to see the hometown team win, but we saw what the Dodgers can do. We know what they have done in the last 4 years, whether they got cheated a few years ago or not. We know the type of team that they can put on the field. A lot of people thought, get rid of Dave Roberts. He doesn't know what he's doing. You know, his pitching changes are horrible. But the Dodgers re-signed him for a reason. They knew what they were doing, and they won this World Series now. What are your thoughts on how the Dodgers finished this World Series out? I'll start with Rob in this 6-game span.
Well, I mean, obviously it went the way that we expected it. I mean, the way that Game 4 ended, like we just talked with Kamdyn, was a little crazy. And, you know, that we should have won that game. Obviously, Kenley came in and couldn't close out the deal. But I was one of those people that was on that bandwagon that was like, let's get rid of Dave Roberts after the last time we lost in the World Series. And it was definitely due to the way that he, you know, his pitching changes were just like all over the place. And I felt like he
Pretty
was
sloppy.
Yeah, I felt like he was getting out coached, you know, and especially like he would do well the entire season. He would do, you know, everything right up until the World Series. And then when the World Series, it was like he was almost experimenting with things. And
when you shouldn't be experimenting.
Right. You should be experimenting with that stuff throughout the season. But, you know, this year, shortened season, They were going to be there anyway. They were going to be in the playoffs anyways. They were going to win that division. I know San Diego kind of gave everyone a little bit of a surprise this year, but they were going to be where they are. They were going to be in that position. Maybe not, possibly maybe not in the World Series, but they were going to be at least almost about to make it to the NLCS and possibly the World Series. So for them to finally get it done yesterday, unfortunately wasn't able to kind of celebrate out and about, because of the times that we're in right now. But it was exciting, celebrated inside the household. Shed a tear, you know what I mean? Didn't sell too many, but I shed a tear yesterday because it was a long time coming. Yeah. It was a long time coming, and any sports fan, I know there's sports fans out there that that can say like my team's never even been to a World Series, or I've never actually got to experience that type, or even going to a World Series. But to be there, 3 out of the last 4 years, and to really want it as much as the Dodgers do, and as much as they deserve it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like this is not like a hot streak that they're on. They've always been good. They've won the West, I think, like 8 of the last 8 years. It's finally coming. I was super excited. The family, the converted Dodger fan wife is super excited. So
he converted her from a Chicago White Sox fan to a Dodger fan.
Yeah, so she was super happy. She was jumping around with me last night.
Nice.
The kids, I had to make sure the kids put their hats on and stuff like that. So yeah, all around it was a good day. I wish like I said earlier, we could have celebrated it a little bit bigger than what we were able to. But yeah, we just sit back and watch the people on Twitter falling off of cars and lighting cars on fire.
Lighting cars on fire.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll just do that from now. Yeah, for now.
Hey man, it's okay to cry, bro. It's all right. Like it's all right.
Next one is when the Niners win. When the Niners get that Super Bowl.
So Duane,
now you're asking too much.
Let us know your thoughts on the whole World Series. What you saw from your team. You being from New York, where the Brooklyn, the Dodgers originally originated. So to you, being a Dodger fan means there's a place in your heart that's a lot more different than LA fans, I would say, if that makes sense. Correct?
Well, yeah, getting back to my dad, he actually attended games at Ebbets Field. Whew. So, yeah, definitely. It's a special place, and it was a special time and a special feeling just to watch it get done in the COVID era. And, a long time coming, and we earned it the last few years, whether the cheating scandal, whatever you want to call it, with the Astros, just to get that monkey off your back and get going again as Dodger fans. You couldn't celebrate it, like Rob said, the way you wanted to, but it felt good to see it get done. And, even though it was a neutral field, it's even more important because you didn't have that home field advantage, and you didn't have that crowd, the wild fans that are jumping on cars now, like you guys said. Yeah. It's just, though, to be a Dodger fan and to finally get it done, because I remember I was growing up in Queens when we won the last title, and that was, right against the Mets. Yeah. That was a huge series. And then to come through, Gibson and Hershiser, and now just to have a team that is comparable to that. And, Kershaw, a credit to Clayton. Bueller, just a fabulous pitcher. Urias was unbelievable. Let's put that kid out there. This kid has just come such a long way, and I'm proud of the team. And it was just a great feeling to watch these guys win, and they really deserve it.
He is Duane Colucci, race and sportsbook manager over at Rampart Casino. Great big friend of the show here. We have him on as much as we can. We wanted to get him in the studio, but circumstances stopped us from that, but we're definitely going to get him back in the studio here soon. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys too about is, what do you guys see the Dodgers' future being? Now, you and I were talking about this on the way here in a way. Now, a lot of people used to mention, and I even said it in the past, that, the Dodgers are the Yankees of the National League. They're spending all this money. But if you start to think about it and look back and do some research, the only guy they spent money on was Mookie Betts. Clayton Kershaw, farm system. Walker Buehler, farm system. Corey Seager, farm system. Corey Bellinger, farm system. Jock Peterson, farm system. Max Muncy, traded for it. He was nothing, developed him.
Turner
the Burner was nothing. They traded for him, developed him. So they're not the Yankees of the National League because they only spent money on one guy, and rightfully so, the right guy, the guy you want to spend the money on to create your team around. Now, with that being said, is this team built to do it again in a regular, 162 game season? Is my question for both of you. Who wants to take it first?
I'll take it. I mean, I mean, there's got to be a few moves moving forward. One of them right off the top is Kenley. I think Kenley's time with us is done. I mean, if they want to give him a second shot, the third shot, I guess you want to say now, a fourth shot.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be a fourth shot, right? Because this would be the fourth World Series if they go again. But yeah, if they want to give him another shot, I just don't see it happening. I see that they got to move on from Kenley. Urias stepped into that closing role and was just literally lights out. He's a lefty as well on top of it, which adds another twist to it. But yeah, I can see a few moves. But I definitely see them, keeping this team intact. Mookie looks happier than ever. I don't know if I've ever seen him excited.
I didn't see him that happy in Boston.
Exactly. I never saw him that excited in Boston when they were winning the World Series. So, I definitely think that they're on the right path. And like you mentioned, they've definitely, this is a homegrown team. This is a homegrown team for sure. And I don't see why anyone would want to leave the Dodgers. I mean, everyone's, hopefully going to get their money. There will be a time when everyone's going to ask for more money, obviously. But in the meantime, right now, in the moment, I think this team is built to go back to the World Series and possibly, double down and maybe even triple down on at least a second or third within the next 3 to 4 years.
Before we get into Duane's comments, Brian Alaman, one of our sponsors of tonight's show, he chimes in on Facebook and says, don't forget about the farm system they have now.
Yeah.
They have killers coming up as well.
I know they got Gavin Lux coming up too. He's another killer, in the I think he's a shortstop. I believe he's in the infield. And he's an up and comer coming out right now. So he's gonna definitely add another dimension to this team.
Duane, what about you? What do you think, my man?
Yeah, as long as the pitching staff stays healthy. I mean, Beulah has a great future. May, we got some good arms there. And if they could stay just healthy and within themselves, we're built for, a dynasty possibly. But the Padres are very tough. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're going to be tough. They're going to be improved. You got a lot of teams that are going to go through free agency, going to try and make the right acquisitions. This was a shortened season. It was a unique season. So be aware of that. A lot of pressure in 162 games on the pitching staff. Dave Roberts then becomes a little more focal because you have so many more situations and decisions to be made. So you have to be aware of that. Bellinger has to have a better season than he had. He really didn't play all that well this year. And we got to get production constantly from Betts, Seager. These guys, they have to produce. We almost lost Peterson, actually, in the trade and all that going on. So, some of the faces might not always be there, but this team is definitely built to last. And Mookie Betts, what a guy to surround this team with. And hopefully it'll last for a while.
Duane Colucci, Racing Sportsbook Manager of Rampart Casino, here joining us again through Skype here on Gorilla Cross Radio, Straight Bet Sports. I'm your host, Jose V. Rob G in front of me. James Mays behind the big board doing what he does for us. Hi, man. Hanging out with us in studio as well.
What's going on, man?
Just chilling. I know you're quiet back there in the background, bro, but you're still here with us. Now,
like
another thing, too, that happened in the World Series that was one of the craziest things, obviously, that's going to be talked about, and I'm pretty sure we're going to try to figure out, and it's going to be crazy. Michael Turner. Justin Turner. I still think we keep thinking about Michael Turner. Justin Turner, the burner.
Yeah, he was the original burner.
Gets pulled in the 8th inning of the World Series Game 6 last night. Here's what I don't understand. He had a positive test for COVID. Players aren't supposed to be allowed on the field until they get a negative test because they get the next day test. They do the 24-hour test. So how is it that he was allowed on the field without his results being back? Now, the craziest thing is not that. I can see that happening. It happens. It's and it's an error, whatever. The crazier thing is the fact that after they told him to leave and not be there, he comes back on the field, granted with a mask to start, but then starts celebrating with his buddies and his teammates. And I get it. You want to celebrate. But here's the crazier thing. Look it up. There's a video. He's kissing his girlfriend in the mouth with no mask on the field on live television after you just tested positive for COVID. And not only that, the group photo on the field is him, Dave Roberts, the championship, and the general manager with no mask. What are we going to see happen here? And what the hell was Turner and the Dodgers thinking, allowing him to do that? I understand you want to celebrate, but this celebration is going to cost them a lot of money if fines are going to come this way, don't you think? I mean, thoughts here, fellas. What did you guys think when you saw all this? Let's start with Duane on this one.
They're lucky they didn't stop the game. Let's put it that way. You know, once you get that positive test, you got to leave the area. And then to come back out, like you said, Jose, no mask, sitting next to Roberts, making out with his girlfriend. I mean, I guess, you know, it's flashbacks to diving in the pool in Arizona and stuff like that. We know how to party, but you got to do it safe. You have to follow this COVID protocol. And I just don't understand what he was thinking, what the upper management allowing him to do that. Even Dave Roberts has got to step in and say, come on, Justin, go in the locker room. Just don't be seen for now. They allowed the game to continue. You know, they could have just caused a major catastrophe here. And they followed up by letting him just run rampant on the field after testing positive. So I think the fines are going to be severe. I don't think it was the right thing to do. So we'll keep our eye on this situation. I guess, you know, you're caught up in the moment, guys, because you're celebrating. It's, you know, you won the World Series. But you got to follow the COVID protocol. I just don't understand what they were thinking there.
Yeah, man. That's some crazy stuff
Fortunately,
right there.
the
Not only
season's-
that, think about this, though. If the Dodgers don't win that game, we're not seeing a Game 7 today. You do understand that. We do not see a game. It probably gets postponed for a day or two. We do not. There's no way they allow those players back on the field tomorrow if there's a positive test. You can't do it.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
So the way that
At least one day. At least one day.
The Dodgers winning this game was the best possible scenario that could have happened for MLB.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was reading about it after I'd heard about it after the game, and they said that I guess like whatever laboratory they send their stuff to, wherever's getting tested, like they had 2 tests, I guess, for Justin Turner, and I guess one came out negative, and then the next one they were like hurrying up trying to like process them, and I guess it tested positive, and they called MLB immediately, and it obviously got sent out, and he got pulled from the game. When it comes to him, I mean, making out with his, kissing his girlfriend, I mean, at that point, I guarantee.
Hey, look at James put it on the screen. I love it. My man, look at that. If you're watching the show right now, I think Duane, did you see it too, Duane? Were you able to watch it?
No, I can't.
Oh, so he put up the screenshot of the picture of Justin Turner kissing his girlfriend.
I'll be honest
and not only that, it says it on there, the big letters, Justin Turner test positive for COVID-19.
That obviously wasn't the first kiss that he had given his girlfriend.
Not, yeah.
He had already kissed her a few times, probably before that game.
James
Russell. Yeah, he kissed her. He had to kiss her before the game, before the game started. So if he was positive before that game started, he had already seen her already. So it is what it is. You just want to jump in, you're already in, you might as well jump in. So, I mean, I get it. They're celebrating in the moment. Him coming back onto the field
was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is a little crazy, but I mean, I didn't hear about it till today, but I don't know he even came out with a mask. Came out with a mask, took it off maybe just for the picture, then put it back on. But yeah, I mean, the fines are going to be severe if they are. But the season's over, so at least they're going to happen now. At least there's not a game in between now. And I'm sure the Dodgers will pick up the tab. I'm sure they're going to pick up the tab on most of it.
I mean, they just got a little bonus. They won.
Right,
so.
Exactly. So they're going to be there. The fines are going to be there, but the season's over.
You this though.
Yep.
Did it happen as just we won? Let's go. Like as a reaction without thinking about it. You know what I mean? Because I bet you that's
probably.
How do you miss that picture though?
How
do you miss that World Series picture though? Like
True.
they're taking your picture on the
That's
field.
probably why he did. He's like, the hell with it.
Yeah,
he wasn't thinking.
I don't blame. I don't say he wasn't thinking. I know he was thinking, but I don't blame him. I honestly, I may have made the same decision as he did because that's a photo that goes, in the history books forever.
Oh yeah,
once in a
lifetime picture. It's not like, hey, let's get everyone back in Texas again for this picture because So,
but if you think about it, at the same time, when is it that?
That's right, bro.
Yeah,
definitely. Good point.
At the same time, like when it comes down to it, like you said, it's a once in a lifetime. Hopefully not, but once in a lifetime opportunity.
You got to take advantage.
You got to take advantage of it. At the same time, if worst comes to worst, you don't got to play tomorrow. You know what I mean? As messed up as it sounds, you ain't got to play tomorrow.
That's it. You're done.
You're done. You already won. There's no game. You don't got to worry about.
You flew back separately, so
yeah. So moving on from the World Series, final thing that I want to say here is congrats to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Congrats to all of the Los Angeles sports fans. Long time coming. You got the Lakers and the Dodgers winning their championships. Great stuff there. And not only that, big ups to Magic Johnson. He now has a championship as a player in basketball, as a owner in WNBA with the Sparks, and as a owner with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Congrats to Magic Johnson. Got to give it up to the man, definitely, for bringing the championships back to Title Town where they belong.
It's not over, though.
But moving forward.
It's not over, though. We got more left in the tank.
We got
more left in the tank. That's not the expectation, just when
But congrats to the Dodgers, though. I'm glad it happened. I'm happy. But moving on, though, let's go ahead and move on to our weekly segment that we started. And this week, it's going to be with Duane Colucci. Since he is the Racing Sportsbook manager, he can break down the lines. He knows what people are betting. He sees what's coming in and out of the book there. So, Rob, let's go ahead and move on with our next segment of the night here. The opening line with Rob G tonight, joined by Duane Colucci. Rob and Duane, go ahead and take it away. What do you see and what are you looking at, Rob?
So 2 college games last week. I took I took it as my play, and then I also gave it out as just as my two of my plays in this segment. I liked Tennessee, which didn't cover. They got rolled, honestly, by Alabama. They had some moments in there where it looked like they possibly could come back. I called for a backdoor cover. I thought for a couple seconds it would be a backdoor cover, but no, Alabama just took over that game, and they pretty much won the entire game. There was no shot for Tennessee to win that game or even keep up with the spread as well. They were plus 22. The second one was Virginia. Virginia came through in the clutch. I put them in as my play. I also, talked about how, I thought that was going to be a little bit of a closer game. So I went 1-1. That's okay. I went 1-1 the 2 weeks before that. But this week, first game that I want to talk about is Texas versus Oklahoma State. Texas coming in at 3-2. Oklahoma's actually undefeated in the playoff picture talk, by some people. I hear their name thrown around there. Texas honestly should be 2-3 because they, happen to come back from 2 touchdowns down with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds against Texas Tech to start the season. I think it was either the second or the third game of the season. Oklahoma State, last game against Iowa State, they were favored by 2.5. They were at home. Iowa State, honestly, in my opinion, is a better team than Texas. And they come in, Iowa State ranked number 21. I personally don't think Texas is actually even ranked. And they opened up at 2.5-point favorites. They covered the spread. You got Texas coming in, who is a mess offensively, defensively, just all around. They got a good quarterback. That's about it. But, both sides of the ball, they've struggled more defensively than anything, given up, I think, over almost close to 400 yards a game defensively. Yeah, exactly. This game opens up Oklahoma State after being a 2.5-point favorite against a team that I think is better than Texas. It opens up at -3. And -3, I think it was like maybe -120, shaded towards Oklahoma State. Has gone up to 3.5. I haven't looked at the money. Some of the websites don't have the where the percentages are now. Duane will fill us in on that, hopefully. But I like Texas. Getting the 3.5 points. Duane, I mean, what you got you have anything on that game?
Anything you're seeing?
Well, like you said, the game opened 3.5, and we're seeing some good two-way action. Believe it or not, people are interested in Texas in this game, and it's a weird line, to be honest with you, because I agree that
it stands out.
They played a better opponent last week, and now it's just staying at 3.5, and the total's at 58.5 at the Rampart and South Point. So 3-2 Texas, 4-0 Oklahoma State. 6th-ranked team in the country. I mean, Hubbard's been running the ball pretty well.
State's got a good defense, too.
Yeah,
they got a good defense.
And, a lot of pressure on Ellinger for Texas to get the job done. The kid's got 17 touchdowns, though. So, a big matchup here in the Big 12. I think Oklahoma State is actually going to go to about 4.5 or 5 in this game. I think we'll see a late push and wise guy action on Oklahoma State. I can't imagine it just sitting at 3.5, especially being in Boone Pickens Stadium. So, we'll see how it plays out. I respect your pick there, Rob.
I think it should have came out at. I think it should have. I think it should have came out at like 4.5, 5. I mean, I honestly just giving more respect to OK State. I think you open. I saw an open of 3, and when I saw that, I was it's up to 3.5 now. But when I saw that, I was like, they're not giving any respect to OK State. I know it's Texas, and Texas is one of those highly bet teams no matter where you are in the nation, right? They're a big bet team like the Packers, the Steelers, the Niners,
Definitely.
all of them.
Yeah.
People bet them, religiously. But, I mean, I thought, honestly, that line should be about 4.5, maybe 5, maybe even closer shaded to 6. But for them to come out at 3, that kind of jumped out on the page to me. I think, Chuba Howard, they got a good running back, better defense. They're better, better coached, better coached team. And that just kind of jumped out of the page that they opened up at 3. Still at 3.5, but like I said, I almost say that every week. I would probably wait. But yeah, if you say that you expect some money to come in on on Oklahoma State, then yeah, that's definitely a good sign for me because I like Texas in this game.
Yeah, and they got to win this game. I'll be honest.
Exactly, it is a must-win for them.
Big matchup with Kansas State coming up, and then you got Oklahoma, big rivalry games coming up. So this is a big game for Oklahoma State. And I definitely think we'll get a late money push, especially from the public and the wise guys. But like you said, 3.5, no respect coming out of the box, especially after that big win against, Iowa State 24-21, I believe it was. So, we're going to see how this game gets bet across the counter at the Rampart and the South Point. Like I said, I anticipate Oklahoma State money, but we haven't got it just yet.
You figure it would have came in early though, right? Like when you have those sharp bettors that come in, I mean, when you talk about, I always talk about it, and I talk about that early money, like right when that line goes up on your board, they're waiting at, chomping at the bit to get to the best line possible. And when they see it pop up, you figure they would have taken it already. Like what's the wait? I mean, I guess they could be waiting on Texas. It is a super public team, so I guess they could be waiting on Texas, but I figured it would have been hit already.
Yeah, definitely. The sharp guys didn't come right out and pound it out. Like you said, we're still sitting at the opener of 3.5. You saw 3, Rob. We opened it at 3.5, and it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
So we're getting good two-way action. Ticket count is real close on this game. And, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it's bet on Friday night and Saturday morning.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. The second game I wanted to talk about is Georgia and Kentucky. Georgia's on the road versus Kentucky. Georgia coming off that heartbreaking. I don't want to say heartbreaking. They got rolled the second half, but they were winning that. They were winning that game against Alabama to start the game. They were winning at half. Kentucky, a little bit of a surprise this year. I guess you want to say a little bit of surprise. But Georgia on the road. They had a bye week between this game and Alabama. Kentucky, not the same offensive team since they've, lost a few people to the NFL and obviously to, being seniors and stuff. They rely heavy on their defense. I think Georgia comes out. I saw the line open up, I believe, 14.5. It's up to 15 now. I think Georgia runs away with this, especially after that loss to Alabama. This is a type of situation where they want to kind of come back and prove themselves that they belong in the rankings. After a big loss, it is to Alabama. We have seen people to lose to Alabama, but still be considered for the rankings, for the playoff picture. I think example was Georgia because they lost to Alabama and still made the playoff. I believe it was last year or the year before that. I think Georgia's going to run away with this. I think they're going to run up the score on Kentucky because they need to make sure that they're, because they got teams like Cincinnati. There's teams like Cincinnati being talked about how they can possibly maybe make the playoff picture. So I think Georgia needs to run away with this. What are you seeing on your side?
Yeah, Rob, we're seeing, again, good two-way action. And the same point that you made in the last game, I thought we'd get crushed with Georgia money, and it's sitting at the opener, 14.5 right now at the Rampart and South Point. Total is only 43 as well. So be real careful here. You're laying points on the road, in the SEC, and that's very important. I think Kentucky is definitely not what they were last year. And Georgia, they had the bye week to think about the shellacking Mac Jones laid on them in the second half. I mean, like you said, they were ahead in that game and just got shut out in the second half. So, that leaves a lasting memory, especially when it's Alabama. I don't like laying double digits, especially over 2 touchdowns on the road in the SEC. Georgia is a battle-tested team. Don't get me wrong. Stetson Bennett is a good quarterback, but he's not overly flashy. And I think that Kentucky can hang in here in this game.
I just don't see how their offense can keep up with Georgia. I mean, I know their offensive side on the Georgia offense has not been the Georgia offense of old, but the Georgia defense is the same defense that we expect from what to see from Georgia. I just don't see how even I honestly don't even see Kentucky maybe scoring 1 touchdown in this game. I don't see how they.
Wow.
Yeah, they're that good. The Kentucky defense is that. I mean, excuse me, the Georgia defense is that good, and the Kentucky offense just lacks that big of a bite. The only reason that they're in these games, for this season, is because of their defense. Their defense has had some key turnovers in some spots, and their offense, they putting them in great field position to score. But I don't see how they even score a touchdown against this Georgia defense at all. So I say lay the points. I know it's a lot in the SEC. After last week, I talked about points in the SEC and taking them at home. But this week, I honestly see Georgia running up the score. They need to prove who they are, and they need to get back in the rankings. And to ensure that, it's the only sport I think you can really kind of run up the score without anybody kind of barking at you, because they understand that where you're at and where you're trying to get to, especially after a tough loss to Alabama.
Good stuff, gentlemen.
Thank you.
No, go ahead, Duane. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I love the
Go ahead.
college.
Let me tell you, common opponents though in this matchup. Tennessee, they beat 34-7. Kentucky and Auburn, I believe they lost 29 or 30-13. So keep your eye on the common opponents here as well. I understand what Rob is saying. Georgia definitely wants to run up the score. They need a flashy win, but are they capable? That's the whole key. That offense went into a shell in the second half against Alabama. Now, granted, Alabama might be the best team in the country. They are the best team in the SEC right now. But this is a very difficult game to handicap on paper when you're laying more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it is. I wanted to just bring up 2 plays. I mean, it didn't really. The Texas one really jumped out on the page to me, but I figured I might as well bring up 2. I got Duane on, so when I got Duane on, I got to ask as many questions as I can. So
Good
appreciate
stuff
it,
there,
Duane.
gentlemen.
I appreciate that.
I'm glad you guys were able to do that one together, because that's a better conversation for both of you to have. I bet, but I don't get into the ins and outs and then what I saw open and this and that. I'm a completely different veteran. Rob knows that, so I'm glad you guys did that. That was the opening line with Rob G. Now, if you guys listening out there and you watching, we're trying to get the segment sponsored. So if anyone out there is looking or has a small business or any type of business or knows anyone that's looking to throw that sponsorship out there, we're looking to get that segment sponsored. Hit us up at straightbetsports@outlook.com. Or if not, just drop a DM here on our social media and we'll hit you up. But that was a good segment there. Now, moving on, we got about 35 minutes, give or take, to talk about NFL before we end up the show here. Some of these games we can get through quick. Others we are going to talk about. Let's go ahead and start off with the game that we have tomorrow night.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about this one.
Falcons and the Panthers right now. You have a 1-16 Duane going against a 3-4 Panthers team that actually looks pretty good, even though they're at 3-4 with a first-year coach there in Matt Rule. Right now, from what I'm looking at on the website that I am checking out on a Wednesday night, we have 71% of the money against the spread on the Panthers. Majority of places have the line at 2.5. What are you seeing on this game right now, Duane?
Yeah, definitely a lot of parlays and teasers on the Panthers. Like you said, first-year coach, first-year quarterback, and definitely overachieving this year. Bridgewater has been playing great, and they're playing good without McCaffrey, who is their key player. So, I understand why the public are backing the Panthers in this situation, especially with parlays and teasers. I think it looks like a cinch, but you're still only laying 2.5. The Falcons, they can't get out of their own way. 1-2 on the road, 1-6 overall. Fired the coach, fired the general manager, and nothing changes. Matt Ryan, he's under the knife. 2,100 yards this year, 12 touchdowns. He's performing well, but Jones is never totally healthy. And Gurley, he made that mistake where he scored, and it actually costed them last week in that time manipulation situation near the end of the game. So I think the Panthers are the right side, but I'm still leery because the line is very low. I thought we would get to that key number of 3, and despite some of the parlays and teasers going, or most, I should say, of the parlays and teasers being on the Panthers, we had some sharp action on the Falcons taking the 2.5. So Rampart and South Point, Carolina -2.5, total of 51.
Thank you, both of you, because everything you said is playing into what I'm about to say. Because I don't get this line at all, right? This is what I call a trap. This is what I call a trap, Duane. This is what I call a trap. The Panthers are are better than expected, with or without McCaffrey, right? With or without McCaffrey, they're doing way better than expected. You got the Falcons, like you said, that just can't get out of their way, are making mistakes after mistake, and can't buy a win, right? They can't even buy a win if they wanted to.
No.
And you got the Panthers coming off last week playing the Saints, and they went toe to toe with the Saints on the road, right? Won by a field goal.
Yes.
They were winning. I think they were possibly winning that game at a certain point. Saints only take it by a field goal, right? And you got, like Jose said, 71% of the money on the Panthers. I have the line opened at 2.5. I actually have the line at 2 right now. So I know 2.5. It's different place to place, but I have some shops offering 2 right now, and that, I mean, I don't understand how Panthers don't open up at 3.5. Yeah, I mean, and the public, especially on a singled out game like that, is going to lay the favorite, and they lay the over, right? And know who's lining up to bet the Falcons, right? Like, who's lining up to bet the Falcons right now at this point, especially after the mistake, like we mentioned earlier, that Gurley made. I think this is an absolute trap. Like you said, I would most likely wait because people are going to line up to take the Panthers. But this is. So
who do you guys like? Tell us who do you like?
I like the Falcons.
Duane, who do you like?
I like the Falcons.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the Falcons. The Panthers are the better team, but when you see line
like this,
that doesn't make sense.
This makes no sense.
I see the action, from the wise guys. I know what's going on.
So before we move on to the next one, I'm gonna let you guys know I'll be that action. Give me the Panthers.
Oh, moving on. Thank you, Jose. Thank you.
Here's an interesting game too. You have an Indianapolis team here with the Colts and Phillip Rivers doing some interesting things here. 4-2. We know what Frank Reich can do with quarterbacks. Obviously, this line is currently sitting at -3 for the Colts on the road. But 63% of the money against the spread is currently on the Lions here on a Wednesday night. Lions coming in at 3-3. Line is at 3. Over and under is 50. I'll let you guys know what I like right off the bat. I think the Lions will pull this one off. I think the Lions have lost some games here that they should have won. I'm still not sold on the Colts. I know Rob loves the Colts defense, and I know he talks highly of them. I'm still not sold on them. With that being said, I'm going to stick with the 63% and the crowd. Go ahead. And the money line, 81% as well. Give me the Lions. I like them -3. Duane, what do you see?
Well, we're seeing some good two-way action, believe it or not. I thought they were going to pound the Colts, and we're seeing some Lion action. So, I understand you're getting points at home. I don't, I'm not sold. I was like Rob with the Colts in the beginning of the season, but now you look at it, and they gave up like 60 points in the last 2 games. So how good is that defense? I think the Lions have a chance here. I think Matt Patricia is fighting and clawing to keep his job. The Colts are the better team on paper, guys. Let's put it that way. But Stafford, in this situation, is the better quarterback. Rivers has made big mistakes. The Brown game was horrible, I'll tell you that. They fell behind against the Bengals, and they were lucky it's the Bengals that they were able to come back in that last game. And that defense has looked horrible in the last 2 weeks for the Colts. So I think the Lions have a chance anytime in the NFL, at the NFL level, that you could get points at home with a 500 team. I like it.
I like the Colts. Surprise, surprise, right? I like the Colts. I really don't have too much on this game, so I won't ask too many questions, but I see the percentages here.
So wait, Duane, you say you like the Colts?
No, he likes the Lions.
He likes the Lions.
He likes the Lions.
Cool.
I like the Colts. I know they're coming off of, their defense has not been the defense that started the season, but the Lions also came away with a lucky victory against Atlanta, and I think the Colts bounced back. I think they were on a bye week last week. Were they a bye? Did they play last week?
No, they were on a bye week.
No, they played the Bengals. No, they're on a bye week. They're on a bye week, so I think they got a bye week in between. I think they enough time to prepare. I like the Colts coach as well. Frank Wright, and I like the Colts -2. And if I can get 2.5, I take 2.5. But I'm not, like I said, this isn't really a game that interests me.
I'll be honest with you. This game that we're going to talk about now, moving forward, once again, you are listening to Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. I am your host, Jose V. Rob G in the studio with me as well. Hyman from Free Your Soul Brand, and of course James Mays in the studio doing what he does for us. Duane Colucci, of course. Without him, tonight's show isn't what it is, because we have to get someone on like him with his knowledge and what he does to be able to talk about these lines and just make it more enjoyable for our listeners out there. So, Duane, we appreciate you jumping on with us again. We got to make this more of a habit, though, man. Definitely. But moving forward,
Thank you.
Vikings.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Vikings, Packers. Vikings are talking about trading Adam Thielen. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. There's rumors coming around that he might be on the market. I don't understand what they're doing. It sounds like they're just trying to get rid of everybody there. Captain Kirk can't do anything. That he's just chewing up, taking up that money. Vikings coming in at 1-5 on the road in Green Bay. Packers 5-1, 6.5 for the Packers right now. 65% of the money on the Packers against the spread here on a Wednesday night. Even though it's a rivalry game, interconference divisional game, I get that. But we see what Aaron Rodgers can do against teams with this kind of record and teams that just are not that good. And we see what he can do against teams like Tampa. He just lays an egg. I like Green Bay in this situation. I think they can cover that touchdown, as crazy as it sounds. I think it'll be a high-scoring event because Green Bay's defense still isn't that great, and they can give up a lot of points. I like the Packers on this end. If it's 6.5, I'll take the 6.5. I think they cover. Who wants to jump in on this one? Duane or Rock?
I just keep it simple. I really don't like the sides either way, but I think both teams can put up some points. So I lean towards the over. It shows it open at 55.5. It's down to 51.5. So I think at that point, I would take the over. I mean, the sharps came in and maybe take the 55.5, but you got a 4-point gap right there. I'd take the over.
Duane, what are you seeing on your side of the counter?
Yeah, we saw a lot of sharp action on the under, and I can't make heads or tails of it. They scored 77 points the first time they played. So,
Nice.
They combined for 77 points. I can't understand why the sharp action came on the under. Like Rob said, I like the over in this situation. I don't see much defense. I see Rodgers lighting it up. I mean, I guess Jones is a little banged up, the running back for Green Bay, but they went crazy last week. They lit up the Texans. They put up 35 points after the bad game against the Buccaneers. I think that definitely Green Bay is the right side, especially under a touchdown. It got bet from 7, the opener at the Rampart and South Point, down to 6.5 now. So I like Packers and over. I mean, you're talking about a team that has put 197 points on the board, and Minnesota has scored not too shabby 155, and they've given up 192 points. So why they're betting the under here, I'll never figure it out. I think Cousins is another guy that even if he falls behind in the game, he likes to play against prevent defense. He's what I always call a fantasy stat quarterback. No matter how bad they do, when you look at it, he still gets his fantasy stats. I mean, last week he was still over 300 yards, gets his 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I like over in this situation.
All right. Moving on. Patriots, Bills. I like talking about this game, even though we're going to go through quick with it. Just because the Patriots are 2-4, me being a Jets fan, even though we're 0-7, it's just good to see them struggling. You know what I mean? I just love that. But you know what? I'm not going to lie. I like the Bills. I like what they're doing. Even though I want to see a little more from Allen, he had 2 games there, a little stretch where he didn't look that good. But the Bills here at 5-2, Duane, 3.5 is the current line that I'm looking at. People are actually taking the Patriots at the minus 59% of the money is on the Patriots here. Now, we have a Cam Newton-led team that Cam's possibly on his way to the bench, and he even stated that. I know what's going on here, and that if I don't produce and do what I got to do, I could be bench here, and it could be Stidham time. I still like Buffalo. I think New England just can't figure it out right now. I'm not going to say it's because Tom Brady's not there, because there's a lot of other things going on in New England. Guys that stayed out because of COVID defensively, injuries, things of that nature. But I like the 3.5 in this spot. I think just because Buffalo's at home, it makes it a little bit easier for me to take them. What are you seeing on your side of the counter there, Duane?
Well, we actually saw a little Patriot action, Jose, and I'm like you. I like the Bills. I think that eventually Josh Allen has to get back on track. They have to make a statement in the AFC East. I mean, they have to take control of this division. They're 5-2, and they have not played really well the last 3 games. They let the Jets cover for the first time all season against them last week. So, and now Dallas is the only team that has not covered the spread once this year. So, they're not playing too good, the Bills. They have to watch themselves. This could be a trap. Belichick loves to win these type of games. And, with Newton's back against the ropes, they have to get some production out of Edelman. They have to, I think Sonny Michel may be coming back, but he had the COVID protocol, and they're getting no running attack. I think the Patriots, are playing as bad as we've seen them in many seasons, guys. So, this is a ripe opportunity for the Bills. I think that Diggs could definitely exploit the Patriots' banged up defense. I like the Bills in this situation, but be careful. I mean, I wouldn't put all my eggs into this basket.
Yeah, looking at, this first thought, like before I even, throw my own analysis into that, when I'm looking at this line opening up, I had it open up, or showing here, open up -3. I like the Patriots, right? Like, I feel like franchise versus franchise in this scenario. I don't know why this line is so low. The Patriots are coming off back-to-back losses, one to the lowly Broncos, right? And then they just got manhandled by the Niners. And that was, I believe, at home as well. So, in this situation, looking at it just from where it opened and where it is now, I do have a question, though. I like the Patriots. I do like the Patriots. But what does it take? So in this situation here, Duane, what does it take for the book to add the hook on, right? You open up at -3. It shows that, 59% of the money's on the Patriots. What does it take for a book to be like, you know what? This is where the money's at, but we're going to go ahead and add the hook. Regardless, it is moving off of a football number too. It's not like we're going 4.5 to 5 or 5.5 to 5.5 or 5 to 5.5, excuse me. But we're moving off a huge number here to go to 3.5. But it looks like money's on the Patriots.
Yeah, well, what you're seeing is ticket count on the Patriots and people teasing them up. But the sharp action and the bigger bets are on the Buffalo Bills. So that's where you see the hook come into play, moving off the key number of 3 to 3.5. Now, actually, Rob, we did open 4 at the Rampart and South Point. So we're coming down. We're making the adjustment where other shops had it at 3 and have had to move it at 3.5. So what that is basically Chris Andrews and his team, and what we get a sense is that we like Buffalo in the game. So if we shade aside, we want to attract action on the other side. Some of these games, as bookmakers, we have to have opinions on. And this is a game where we did have a slight opinion. We feel Buffalo is in the right position. They're the better team. And you want to try to attract some betting action on the Patriots. We know the parity with Newton. You don't know how stable he is, and you don't know how stable his relationship with Belichick is. And you take into consideration that the Bills are a much better home team, and coming off that win against the Jets, where they just went through the motions, they're looking for a peak performance. So when we shade aside like that, Rob, we're looking for action actually on the Patriots, and that's why it's coming down, because we are getting action on the Patriots.
Gotcha. Good stuff there behind the counter from Duane Colucci, racing sportsbook manager over at Rampart Casino here on Straight Bet Sports with Jose V and Rob G. So look, guys, we got about 20 minutes, give or take, here to finish up 9 games. So what I want to do with this, because there's some that we can just give our quick thought and run it through. I want to know from these 9 games left, Titans, Bengals, Raiders, Browns, Jets, Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Saints, Bears, Niners, Seahawks, Cowboys, Eagles, Steelers, Ravens, Bucks, Giants. Out of these games that are left, I want to get each and every one of you what game stands out to you the most. So, Duane, I'm going to put you on the spot. From these games that are left, what game sticks out to you the most that either you've seen the action coming in this early in the week at your spot, or just in general, you being a bettor and being behind the counter, seeing the action that you're looking at? What game sticks out to you the most and you want to talk about here?
Well, Jose, we got 2 games that I want to talk about that are going to be great handle. Right off the bat, the Ravens and the Steelers. We saw all the sharp action come on the Steelers real early. We opened it at 4.5. We're now at 3.5. The Ravens are the favorite, but we're seeing a ton of Steeler action. Baltimore and the Steelers, this is going to be a marquee 10 a.m. matchup. We're going to see fabulous handle on this game. And naturally, in the afternoon, we're going to see great handle on the Seahawks and the 49ers. 49ers started to right that ship now. They're really playing well. Seattle's coming off the suspect game against Arizona. We're going to see how they bet this game. We opened it at 3 at the Rampart in South Point, and we're still sitting at 3, total of 54. This is the marquee matchup that we're looking for in the afternoon. And the Raven game and the Steeler game, like I said, we got hit with a lot of Steeler action early, and we're going to see how the bet back comes. Ravens are currently -3.5 at home against the number 1 defense in the NFL, and that actually has come down as well. The total opened at 48.5, and it's down to 46.5. So a lot of people are tying the Steelers with that under as well, banking on that defense, shutting down Lamar Jackson. But let me tell you, the last 3 times Lamar played the best defense in the NFL, he shredded them. So I kind of like the Ravens in this game, guys.
What about the game that you said about the Niners and the Seahawks, because you mentioned that as well? Who do you like in that game?
Ooh, I fear Russell Wilson at all times. The guy is the best player. I tell you, the guy is the best player in the NFL, and I'll take him all day over Jimmy G. And, if they could just get that defense a little better, Seattle might be the best team in the NFL. And I think the Buccaneers were very smart to swipe Antonio Brown before Seattle got that contract. Yep. They were definitely going to sign him. So I think that was just a preventative move by Tom Brady and Arians to just get him off the table, because they're the other team that, is right there. Tampa Bay and Seattle are the 2 flashy offenses. So I'll probably take Seattle in that other game, guys.
See, that was good. Got 2 quick games out of the way. I'm going to tell you who I like, and then I'll get your thoughts, and then I'll get the game that you want to talk about, or games.
Yep.
So real quick, I like the 49ers in that game. I'm sorry. Even though I like what Russell Wilson is doing, I'm going to take the Niners. I think the Niners are doing it right and getting hot at the right time, even though they have injuries. I'm going to stick to them. And, yes, I'm going to say it now, even though I didn't say it before. I agree with most people now. The Steelers are the best team in the NFL currently, and I think they're going to beat the Ravens. I don't know about that total, but I think they cover this game, and they cover the points right, and they win outright. Rob, your thoughts on those 2 games that Duane talked about, and then the game you want to talk about?
I mean, the Niners are my team, so it's super tough to talk about, that game and where it stands out now. I show it opening at 5.5, so taking 5.5 points would have been nice. But yeah, currently at 3. I think I got to take the Seahawks. That game doesn't really stand out to me.
See,
so
that's good.
I mean,
You betting with your mind, not your
heart.
I'm
betting with my mind on that one. I think I got to take the Seahawks at home. I think the Niners. A lot of people are going to be betting the Niners because they've looked like Duane said, they right that ship. The last 2 weeks. But Seahawks at home, and I don't like to bet against Russell Wilson. And then for the Steelers and Ravens, I don't understand why one of those first of all, why one of those 2 games didn't get flexed out to the Sunday night game, right? They flexed out last week. They took out the Raiders and the Buccaneers game.
You don't want to see my Cowboys?
No, absolutely not. I do not want to see Cowboys Eagles on Sunday
America's
night.
team.
I guarantee
I'm there with you, man.
that's going to be one of the lowest bet
I'm
games.
from Texas, so trust me.
I was born and raised out there.
That's going to be one of the lowest bet games of the night. I guarantee it, because I know it's a standalone game, but geez, Cowboys Eagles. That's what you're going to give me versus when you have Seahawks, Niners, and Ravens and Steelers. But yeah, give me the Ravens. Just based off of what Duane said about how he shredded the best defenses, I'll take the Ravens, and I'll take the Seahawks in those.
Now,
2
what
games.
game sticks out, or games stick out to you, real quick?
So I have 1 game, so I'll use another. I'll use I'll pretend like I have 2 games to talk about. But Duane, do you guys? I have a question. Do you at Rampart? Do you participate in look ahead lines?
Look ahead, meaning
how the lines come out the week.
The season, like
no. Yeah, you know how the lines come out a week before, like 2 weeks.
Right, yeah. No, we have what you call key games that we put up early in the season. We don't put up the games until Monday morning.
Gotcha.
So we don't. Yeah, we had key games. We had a sheet that had key games in the season, and we pick about 2 or 3 per week. But we didn't offer too many because of the COVID this year, and we don't put them up the week ahead of time. We put them up on the Monday morning at about 9 a.m. at the Rampart in South Point.
But some places put them up early, right? Like all the games.
Yeah. Circa and Westgate, I believe, put them up like right Sunday. Some of them while the afternoon games are being
They're
played,
already up,
actually,
yeah.
they'll
So-
put them up. So,
Right, they even come
yeah.
out before the games even start sometimes, right? Like before those games.
Definitely,
So are you?
yes,
so from a
yes.
business standpoint, I understand. You're able to take action on games that haven't taken place, and you're maybe able to predict the future a little bit more. I guess maybe from a sharp perspective, but from a bettor's perspective, are you a fan of look ahead lines? Because I am not. I don't want to know. Like I don't like how. It's swayed a little bit. Like I said, it shows here that the Seahawks open up as 5.5-point favorites. But that's a look ahead line, right? Like that's a line that came out before they even played the previous game, and same thing for the
that's
Niners, and now it's
basically
at
like
3.
Yeah,
So
yeah, Rob, that's an offshore line that's basically put up maybe even, early Sunday morning or prior to that. So, yeah, definitely a 5.5 is definitely a look ahead line, maybe even more than a week. Sometimes some of these properties put them up. Like I said, we put up key games of the year. But what you're seeing with the 5.5 was probably an offshore opener. And we actually opened the game at 3. We opened it at a solid 3 at the Rampart at South Point. I think I tweeted them out at about 9 a.m., Rob. So we put them up pretty early at
That's interesting.
our properties. On
yeah, because
Monday
the website
morning,
the website I
Go ahead.
typically use has like the look ahead lines, so it's kind of
Yeah,
tough to
yeah.
determine if that's a look ahead line. Well, that's all they use is look ahead lines, I guess. But yeah, I see that type of stuff all the time. So, anyways, from a
What
better
game do you like?
So yeah, I was gonna get to it. Sorry. I just wanted to ask about look ahead lines because I'm the only one here that talks about
I'm
look
just
ahead
saying
lines.
because we're running out of time.
I'm sorry. So the one that I'm talking about, what did you open your Titans Bengals line at?
So that's the game you're looking
Yeah,
at.
if I can.
Oh, real quick. Hold on. Before we get into that, we got a caller.
We don't have time for a caller. That's what.
We got a little bit of time. Depends on what do we got?
5.5.
Who-
5.5.
Who's the caller? What do we got? What do you want to talk about? Where are you calling from? Caller? Hello? Are you there?
What's up, guys? I just want to talk about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was just wanting to get your guys' opinion on Magic Johnson's recent statement. He said, LeBron James is the best player in basketball, and Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball. And I just got to say, I know he's like some type of part owner or something with the Dodgers. And for him to say Mookie Betts is the best player on the team in baseball after Corey Seager just had the MVP for the NLCS and the MVP for the World Series, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. You're supposed to be owner, supposed to be neutral. You can't be picking favorites like that because Corey Seager has been playing out of his mind. I think he's the best player on the Dodgers. It's kind of weird for him to say that. What do you think?
We appreciate the call. Even though we are talking
It's
football
a
right
little
now,
off topic.
we're trying to end the show here because we're finishing up with our football topics here and our football picks. But I agree with you.
Foosball.
Corey Seager.
Foosball.
Corey Seager is the best player on that team. I don't think Magic should have said that. You got to just stay quiet and let your players celebrate. But we got to move on to.
I think in the World Series, Mookie played better. I think NLCS is where he took it. Corey Seager was better. But
Yeah.
anyways, moving back to football. I'm sorry, Mookie
We
Betts.
appreciate the call though. Not
No,
trying to be rude or
absolutely,
anything.
100%.
We're running
They're
against the
both
time
great
schedule
players.
there, so we greatly appreciate that call though. Definitely.
So real quick, Duane, where did you open up the Titans Bengals line?
5.5 there, Rob. 5.5. We opened up the Titans minus 5.5, and we're sitting at 5.5. And actually, it did go up to 6. Then it got bet back down to 5.5.
So
that's where we opened it.
So I have a look ahead line here. I'm looking
Right.
at minus 3.5 on the Titans. That's before they played the Steelers, which is basically almost a pick 'em. I know it was minus 1.5 or whatever. And then before the Bengals played the Browns, right?
Yes.
And for the
And
Titans,
now all these Bengal guys want trades too now, right? So, that came out this week.
oh, is that okay? So then that makes
Yeah,
sense. Then.
yeah.
See, that's something that I didn't even know about. I'm sorry. I apologize then. So basically, looking at that line for the Titans, open up at minus 3.5 before they played their game against the Steelers. I mean, they're still a better coach team. They're still, an overall, or as of right now. I mean, any organization is better than the Bengals, but as of right now, the Titans are a better team overall. And for them to
Way
only
better.
open up at a minus 3.5 against the Bengals, I mean, that just seems super trappish to me. But now that you're saying that a lot of the players have asked to be traded or, to move on or whatever the situation may be, and for them to obviously move up to minus 6, that kind of makes more sense to me. So I kind of strike that then now that you filled me in on that. So, yeah, moving on then, right? I like the Bengals in that situation, but, now that he's filling me in with some info, I kind of have no take on that game. which is better because I'd like to have the least amount of takes as possible. Just give me
I just
one
like
pick.
the over. I'll leave it at that. I like the over. I think they can score a lot.
All right.
I think Tennessee is a good team. I think they're going to run the ball down their throat.
Derrick Henry,
Ugh.
Mr. Derrick
Henry.
Henry.
Unstoppable.
Guy's
Unstoppable.
unbelievable.
So there's two games that stick out to me. We still got some time here, but the main game that sticks out to me more than anything here is
The Browns game.
no, the Rams and the Dolphins game. You have a Dolphin team which is still in the hunt at 3-3 behind a 4-2 or Buffalo Bill team 5-2 here. And I think everyone is going to be on the Rams. And so far right now, 63% of the money is proving me correct. I know it's Wednesday. I know it's early. We got a lot of time for bettors to get to the window and do what they got to do. But this game sticks out to me more than anything. I wasn't a big fan of this move, of them starting Tua. I thought that leaving Ryan Fitzpatrick in there and letting him finish it out and do what he was doing. He was playing great. The 6th ranked passer in the NFL, by the way, was Ryan Fitzpatrick before he got benched. So this game to me, I think in general for bettors, if I'm looking at this as a casual bettor over the counter, I'm licking my chops to take the Rams because this defense is just going to murder Tua, right? That's what I'm thinking, and that's what probably a lot of these regular casual over-the-counter bettors that aren't sharps, that aren't spending a lot of money or doing what they're doing, that are probably going to be thinking. I don't look at it this way. The fact that Miami's at home and it's Tua's first start, the fact that there's not much NFL film on Tua because there was no preseason, there wasn't that much of a training camp. All you have is what he did at Alabama.
And there wasn't even too much of a senior season
Exactly.
for him.
So honestly, call me crazy. I like the Dolphins in this situation. I do. I think they will win this game. I think this is a trap game because you have a Rams team going to the East Coast.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. game. Call me crazy. I like the Dolphins in this situation. I wasn't a big fan of them before the season started. I didn't think they were going to do anything, but I like what Brian Flores is doing. I like how they've been playing. The team itself is playing good and was playing good with Ryan Fitzpatrick, so I don't see how it can get worse with Tua. But the biggest thing is, are they going to protect this kid? If they protect this kid and he can be protected in that pocket, even though we know he can move, I say they win this game. Give me the Dolphins. Call me crazy. Guys?
Yeah, for me, I honestly, now that you're bringing it up, that definitely looks like a trap game to me. But Duane can probably give us a little bit more info on this. Is this more of a, so looking at it now, because I'm surprised I didn't even see that, because yeah, definitely that kind of sticks out to me. Is this for you, Duane? Is this more of a like we're afraid of how good Tua may be line here? Because I mean, from what the Rams did to the Bears, right? Because everyone seemed to be on the Bears, taking the +6,
Right.
+6.5, even on the money line on Monday. Was it Monday night? 2 nights ago, and then the Dolphins coming in with a new quarterback at home. Is this more of a Tua thing, or is this more of like, is this an actual trap?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. You look at the stats, and what did Jose say? The monstrous Rams defense, 124 points given up. Well, the Dolphins only gave up 113 points. So the Dolphins have a pretty good defense, I'll tell you
I didn't know
right
that.
now.
Okay.
And I think that Tua could definitely get the job done under the right circumstances, but this might not be them. I mean, the Rams do have a good defense, and they really shut Foles down. They made the Bears look foolish, and that was a big bounce-back game. I thought the game set up really well for the 49ers when they beat the Rams, because how many games were the Rams really going to play well on the road? They played so well against the Eagles. They had that great tussle against the Bills. Then they played good against Washington. So they had to lose a game on the road. So the 49er game set up pretty good for the 49ers against the Rams. And then they came out and blew the Bears out. So Tua better be sharp. I don't think Fitzpatrick is grooming him anymore. I think he played the pout card after, like Jose said, being the number 6 ranked passer in the NFL and now having to ride the bench. So, I think the Rams ought to play here. I just think it's more of a defensive point of view when we're making this line because you have two class defenses, and that brings the line a little closer. I don't think there's a Tua factor or anything like that. You're still seeing a team lay more than a field goal on the road, traveling cross country to play in Miami. So I think we have the right line here. I think the Rams are the right side, though. I think they should be able to shut Miami down, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, guys.
All right, moving on. We got a few games that we got here. We got about 4 minutes, so we're going to run through these. These are going to be quick. I just want to get your thoughts. Who wins, who covers. Raiders, Browns. The Browns are at home. Odell Beckham is out for the season with the ACL tear there. Tough loss, but I don't think it is. I think it's not a bad thing. And what I mean by that, I think it's going to help Baker Mayfield because he's got less to focus on now, meaning he can just relax and let himself play around what he has and not try to be that star with Odell and try to give him the ball all the time. He has enough around him. 72% of the money's on the Raiders. I think everyone is just jumping on them right now. 2.5 is the line. I hate to go against the home team here, but give me the Browns at -2.5. I like the Browns, guys. What do you like?
I like the Raiders. That line doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the Raiders are coming off a bad beat from the bad loss to the Bucks. I'm surprised the Browns aren't favored by more. It shows it opened at 3 and they're down to 2.5. I know the money's on the Raiders, but yeah, I would take the Raiders. That's just my personal opinion.
Duane?
Yeah, I like the Raiders. I think Jarvis Landry is banged up. Now you don't have Odell Beckham. You're already missing Chubb. I mean, Kareem Hunt is definitely playing good, but that was the Bengals last week, and they almost lost after getting crushed by the Steelers. I think the Buccaneers were definitely a tough test for the Raiders. I think they bounced back in this situation.
Jets, Chiefs, I'll make it short and sweet. I have not seen a line this big since God knows how long. 19.5 on the Chiefs.
Open 22.
Call me crazy. The Chiefs will win by 3 touchdowns. I hope this is the week. I've been saying it every week. I hope this is the week that you guys finally fire Adam Gase, New York. Give me the Chiefs minus the 19.5, guys.
Go ahead, Duane. I mean, I have no.
He's like Chiefs.
I'll take whatever Duane takes on this one. Whatever Duane says, I like. That's what I'm taking because I have really no opinion on this one.
I gotta agree with Jose. Why does this guy have a job? From the day he was at the press conference, he looked like he was totally speeded
Cracked out.
And the guy has done nothing positive from Miami to the Jets. He's got to go. I mean, now. Le'Veon Bell is going to start to become an intricate part of this offense. Forget it. This is a monster team. I like the Chiefs.
So we finally saw what the Bears were and what they weren't. This is going to be an interesting game. Saints 4-2, Bears 5-2. Bears at home, but the Saints are favored by 4.5. Small number here, 58% of the money on the Saints currently. I think the Saints win this game. I don't think they cover this game, though.
Correct.
Rob?
I'll stay with the same thing. I take the points in the Bears, especially after the way that they got demolished by the Rams. Saints are coming in. Yeah, I would take I just take the points. I mean, I just have a feeling that the Bears are actually going to win this game outright, just from previous matchups that they had versus each other. So yeah, I'd take the Bears and the points.
Yeah, I agree, guys. I think this is a trap. The game has been bet up from 2.5 to 4. The Saints are laying 4 on the road. You don't know how Thomas is going to be, if he's going to even play. The other wide receiver has COVID. I think there's a lot of pressure on Kamara in this game. I think the Bears bounce back. They're a much better team at home. I think that freezing cold weather will definitely play a factor. I like
breeze outdoors. Breeze outdoors outside that dome
Yes.
is not the same breeze anymore.
I
So
agree.
I like
Okay.
the Bears. Moving on.
So we got 2 games, the final ones.
Let's not even talk about the Cowboys Eagles. I don't
So
even care
coin
about-
flip here. Honestly, I'm gonna put it to you this way: if Andy Dalton and the Cowboys don't figure this out, then this is over. The season is done. I'm sorry. James is a huge Cowboy fan. Some of us had the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl,
tonight.
but I
And as their pick last week.
think the Eagles win this game.
I'll take the Eagles to win. I don't care about this game. Whatever.
3.5.
Whatever.
I mean, as a Cowboy
I don't
fan,
care about the Dodgers
it's
either.
sickening right now. It's sickening. I can't believe how Zeke
tough.
has butterfingers. Defense is horrible. McCarthy's horrible. Dalton probably won't even play. Who knows? I like the Eagles.
So final game: Bucks Giants. I know.
No. We got one more. You're missing.
Where?
Chargers Broncos.
I didn't see that when it's not
yeah,
on here.
yeah, it's a right-in game.
Yes.
Rotation number 275 and
276.
270. Yeah, exact. Thank you, Dwayne.
On the rotation.
All right, go for it.
I like honestly.
I have the Chargers.
I have the Chargers open up -1.5 on the road in Denver. Currently -3, shaded towards the Chargers -120. I don't know what you have on your side, Dwayne, but honestly, I like the Broncos. I think that I think in that altitude on the road, Broncos plus the 3, maybe even money line.
Yeah, this is a good game. I tell you, it's -3 now on the road. The Chargers. Herbert's playing really well. I think he's the better quarterback out of the two. He's already got like 1,550 yards, and him and Keenan Allen have a great rapport. But it's so tough to play in Denver, especially this time of the year. It's going to be cold there, very cold altitude, like you said. I have no opinion in this game. I think the line is just right. Total 44.5, and like I said, Chargers -3 at the Rampart on the South Point.
So final game before me and Rob give our final pick of the night. We got a few minutes here. Bucks, Giants. Call me crazy. I always say crazy stuff on the show. Rob knows that. So I got to throw it.
Don't say it.
Tom Brady can't beat the Giants. Give me the Giants, baby. Jones is going to come out and light it up. And I think the Giants beat the Bucks. This is my upset money line dog of the week. How about that?
As long as he don't trip over his own.
I mean, yeah, I can only imagine the story, the day after that the Brady can't beat the Giants. Up to 10.5, opened at -8.5 is what I have here. I take the points. Take the points, 10.5 with the Giants at home.
Dwayne, what you got?
10.5 at the Rampart South Point. I like Brady in this situation. I think this team is just getting better and better and better. Now Gronkowski is in the mix. Sooner or later, Fournette is going to be healthy. I mean, I just can't bet on the Giants. They have such a liability at defense. They have no offensive weapons without Saquon. I mean, Daniel Jones is good, but it's an NFC East team, guys. Come on now. How can we pick an NFC East team against a juggernaut like the Buccaneers?
I'm crazy.
I like the Buccaneers. I think the defense shuts down Jones, and I like what Brady is going to do here. I think it's an easy win.
So we're at the end of it now. That was fun. Great towards the end. Finished it up there. Duane Colucci, race and sportsbook manager over at the Rampart Casino.
Can you give us a pick
so
real
much,
quick?
my man. That's what I was going to get to.
Okay, right,
so me
right.
and Rob always give our picks.
Right.
Rob is now 5-2 on the year. He had Virginia last week. I don't want to talk about what I had because I had the Cowboys
Them
again.
boys.
I'm sorry. No, I didn't have them boys. I had the Titans. So that
no,
puts
you
me at
didn't.
2-5. So we always give out our picks, Dwayne. What do you have as our guest tonight? What pick of the week would you give us when it comes to the NFL?
I tell you the truth, I'm going to shock everybody. I'm going to take Baltimore. I think they're going to beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers can't just keep going through the NFL the way they are. They have a great defense, don't get me wrong, but I think that Jackson is really going to confuse them. I think he's going to use the pass. I think the running game is going to be a lot better. I think at home they have a good chance of upsetting, well, not upsetting, but beating the Steelers and beating the number one team in the NFL, the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like the Ravens. I think they're definitely one of my top picks of the week.
Perfect. Rob, what you got?
I'm stuck between the Falcons and my Texas pick, but you know what? I'm gonna stick with college. I'm gonna stick with. Yeah, I know. I stick with college. I got some room. You're 2-5. I'm 5-2, so I can afford a loss right now. So I will take Texas.
Thank you.
I can afford a loss right now. I will take Texas plus 3.5. I would maybe possibly sprinkle some money on the money line. But for the sake
you got Texas?
For the sake of the contest here,
Texas
I will take
minus?
Texas plus 3.5 on the road against OK State.
All right, so that means that leaves me with the final pick here. Give me the Carolina Panthers tomorrow night. I'm not even gonna wait till Sunday. Just give me Carolina tomorrow, and I'm gonna go with the William and Hill line because that's what pretty much is around town. Give me 2.5. I'll take the Panthers tomorrow. Get it out of the way. I gotta get a damn win because it has not happened for me, and I'm looking bad here. But I'm gonna get that minus 2.5. We are at the end of it. Jaime, give us a pick. Come on.
I don't even know, man.
Just tell us who Raiders.
You know what? Yeah, just because they're local, man. Let's go with the Raiders.
All right, there we
As
go.
much as I don't like them, but because they're local, we'll go with the Raiders.
Man, Gabe.
Sportsbook say thank you for your pick this
Thank you
week,
for
Jose.
your money. I know,
No,
right?
Jose, thank you for your Panthers money. Appreciate you.
I cannot get a win. But Duane, my brother, thank you so much again for joining us. Fun show. We're at the end of it here. let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on at the Rampart moving forward here in the next couple of days and in the future, my man.
Yeah, thanks, Jose. You could always find me on Twitter at MYBookieDuane, Duane. Also I have the If and Reverse podcast that's still going. Still got that going, which we're going to have a big Breeders' Cup segment on If and Reverse, as well as we're going to have our Breeders' Cup seminar. Myself and Bob Ike, November 6th, 6 p.m., Cascade Lounge at the Rampart Casino. We have extended occupancy now because Sisolak has eased things up a little bit, and it's going to be a great time. So come out November 6th. We're going to have drawings for some comps, for some giveaways. The Cascade Lounge, the Rampart. You guys have been there. You know how beautiful the property is. We got the Clubhouse Deli. We got the Beat the Bookie promotion where you pick against my picks, no point spread, free slot play if you're able to beat me. And, we got a lot of good contests, which a lot of properties went away from this year, guys. We got the free contests. We got the Red Zone to Riches. We got the Beat the Bookie. We got the online extravaganza. We're going to have a Breeders' Cup seminar. A lot of great things going on at the Rampart, and you could always find all that stuff on my Twitter account at MYBookieDuane. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And just a pleasure to be on this show, always. Thank you, guys.
My man, Duane Colucci, greatly appreciate you, brother. We will be having you on the show again soon. Thank you so much. Have a great night. We're going to have you on again. Say hello to your Pops for me, thoughts and prayers. As always, Pops is going to be fine. Talk to you soon, my man.
Thanks, Duane.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
So, James, I know we're past a few minutes, but I appreciate you, man, for letting us finish up here now. Thank you to everyone. Kamdyn Perry, Bishop Gorman High School baseball star, joining us, letting us know his thoughts on Game 4 of the World Series. Rob G in studio. Great stuff. I'm glad your Dodgers finally got it done for you. You got a championship here. It's good to see that happen. Hi, man, from Free Your Soul brand. Thank you for jumping in here and letting the listeners and watchers know where they can find your stuff, which is awesome, so they can get the shirts that we got. James, I know you're happy because you got another championship, man. Remember, I'm not a Dodger fan, but it's good. But you guys that are real Dodger and Laker fans through and through, congratulations, and I'm happy for you. But with that being said, man, the only thing I'm gonna tell you, I saw some of the video that happened last night. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to go buck wild and go crazy and enjoy yourself. It's been 32 years, LA. I get it. All I'm saying is be safe, be smart. Show your kids the right way to do things, man. I saw some videos last night that was crazy. But LA, mayor, governor, California, if you're listening, let's figure something out. Let's get this parade going because the city of LA deserves it. Lakers, Dodgers, what else can I say? Till then, I am Jose V for Rob G for James Mays. This has been another episode of Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio. Until next Wednesday, we are out.
See ya.